Hello everyone, it's Andrew from GemTCG here. And for today's video, I'll be talking about the best time to buy. And for today's video, I'll be talking about the worst time to buy Pokemon singles and how to avoid overpaying for cards, and also tell you when the best time to buy cards is. And I made a previous video on when the best time to buy bulk is, and it's kind of like an inverse of that video. They kind of are opposite on like timing wise when is the best time to buy them. So definitely check that one out too if you haven't seen it yet. And I know in my previous video I talked about how I was sick and I've been feeling a lot better. My head still hurts, but like my throat doesn't hurt as bad. So figured I'd make this video. Also because it's very irrelevant because Destin Rivals comes out tomorrow. So I wanted to make this so that you guys are prepared for it and don't run into a situation where you're in a high risk position and potentially lose a lot of money, because it's happened to me in the past a lot when I was first starting. So I don't want it to happen to you guys. And then another thing is, if you are new here, I do have a Patreon where I give more one on one help. And then I also sell collections and sealed product at a discount. So feel free to join that if you're interested. The link is in the description. But let's get on to the video. Hey, and one more thing, thank you all for the support on the previous video. It was very nice seeing all the comments from you all, so I really appreciate that. So back to the topic, which is when is the worst time to buy Pokemon card singles? I'm going to focus mainly on singles, not bulk or sealed product, because those are different. And sealed product is definitely like very risky on timing it because you never know what's going to happen. And bulk, I already made a video on that, so check that one out. So to put it in short, the worst time to buy Pokemon card singles is directly after a set comes out. And many of you are probably already aware of that it's not good to buy a cards from a new set when that set had just come out. And the time window on what I'm saying on like when it just came out is probably within like, honestly, I would go as far as to say the first month I wouldn't buy cards from the set, but at least like 1 to 2 weeks after a set comes out, you do not want to be buying cards from that set. And what you'll notice is that a lot of people selling collections will sell their collections after a set comes out because they just opened some product and they got some hits. So they'll have like a few hits from that new set within their collection. And most times you could ask them, like, hey, can you take the cards from Destin Rivals out of that list? Because I don't buy brand new cards when they first come out. And most times they'll be fine with it. Sometimes they won't and they just will look for someone else, but that's fine because when you're buying cards from these brand new sets, yes, there is a lot of demand for them, but there's also a lot of supply coming onto the market that's readily available. And what this does is people start to undercut each other because they are all, it's like, I think the analogy is like holding a hot potato. They don't want to hold it for too long, so they try to pass it off. And by passing it off, I mean just selling it. And by selling it quickly or wanting to sell it quickly, they'll undercut the lowest listing and then it will just be a race to the bottom. And you will end up getting caught in that. And let's say you bought it, like tomorrow's Friday. Let's say you bought it on Friday for, like, you bought a card for $100. There's a high chance that like by Monday, the market price on that card will be like $70 or $80. So that's why you don't want to be buying them when they're right out of the release date, because the market prices will drop significantly. And the reason why these prices are so inflated in the beginning is because a lot of people look to complete their collection as soon as possible, which I never understood why, because it's like very commonly known that cards are always at a peak when a set first comes out. So I don't know why they try to complete their collections right away when if they just wait like a month, they could do the same get the same cards for a fraction of the price. And I'll also show some examples later on in the video with like previous sets and how the cards perform during then. And on the flip side, knowing that cards from a brand new set are bad to buy when they first come out, you could also use this on the flip side and know that it's very good to sell them as soon as possible. So like let's say you just happen to get your hands on like some sealed product and you open it and then you get some hits, you will want to sell it as soon as you can. Don't wait, like even like hours can make a big difference. So sell it, like list it as soon as you can, because the quicker you are to the market, the higher your chances are of getting that sale. So don't procrastinate when you're opening product, because you could risk like a lot of money from not selling it right away. Okay, so for this first example, we'll be looking at Journey Together, and the set came out March 28th, which is basically like 2 months from today, a little bit more, but 2 months ago, Journey Together came out. And if we just look at the highest price cards from the set and check out their price history, you will see what I'm talking about. So like let's just look at the top four. So Lily's Clefairy, March 25th to March 27th, 15 copies sold at $327 market price. Now, look at this extreme like decline within not even a week. Probably like actually no, probably 1 week exactly, where it goes from March 25th at 327 to March 31st at $217. So that is like a $100 drop in 1 week. And if you were to buy this card for 327, let's say you even bought it at like 60% market price, which is impossible. So actually let's just go with 70%. That would be like $250, I think. And then you try to sell it, which is even harder, because if you try to sell it at market price, after all the fees and all that, you're going to barely break even. So you would have to undercut a little, and then you'll probably be losing money too. Let's say like you bought it at for 250. A week later, the price you paid at a 70% value is already higher than what the full market value is within just a week. Then if you go out 2 weeks, it's not as significant, but it's still declining. And then over the entire month up until May 9th, so like a little bit over a month and a half, it cut basically in half. So from March 25th to May 12th, the card dropped half, more than half actually. And this can be a very big problem if you're buying multiple cards at the time and you don't have a way to quickly flip them. Now, if you're maybe like a whatnot seller or a vendor and you could sell them locally like very quickly, then it's a different story. You might be able to buy these cards. But if you're just like buying them to sell on eBay or TCG Player, you are at a very high risk, because these prices drop way too much to be able to make a like good chance at a profit. And this is with the number one card from the set. So like let's look at the Salamence. Same thing. Started at 241. Within 2 weeks it was at 133. And then like a month and a half later it's at $88. So that's like that's a third of the price from the initial release week. And then we look at Anzoroark. Similar story, 218.9. 2 weeks later, it's at 133. Month and a half later, it's at $88. So, as you can see, it is very important to stay away from these cards. And then I'll just do one more example. Prismatic Evolutions. Very popular set, very high in demand. Came out January 17th. So let's filter for Prismatic. And we'll look at I guess we'll look at the top 8 just because they are so high in value. But we'll skip these 4. Let's look at like a non-evolution just in case. Okay. So Umbreon, I'm not really sure what this is going to look like because it is such a expensive card. But as you can see, started at 1500, went up actually within the first week, went up $50, and then since then it's just been slowly declining. Actually, I don't know if this is slow. It went from 1600 to 1200 within a few months. So this one wasn't as significant as the Journey Together cards, but let's see another example. And by significant, I'm talking about the time it took to drop. Like With Journey Together, it took like a month and a half. With this, it took 4 months. Sylveon, this one dropped from 600 all the way till 460. Somehow found a spike after like 3 or 4 months, which is interesting. I've never seen something like that. But still, it went from 600 all the way down to the bottom at 460 within a little over a month and a half. So right there, that's like a 25% drop, $150 difference. Again here, 442 went down to 356 within a month, and then it saw a peak, and then it dropped again. I think these are just getting pumped up or something, is what it looks like. I'm not really sure why the prices jumped up so much. I didn't really pay attention too much to these cards because I don't really focus on higher end cards, so I never paid attention to the market price. I think the only one I have in stock right now is the Vaporeon, and it's been in my store for like 3 months. I haven't been able to sell it. So the Espeon, this one, completely different. It actually didn't drop after initial, like after the release day, and then it dropped later, but I'm not sure. This one is kind of off. Maybe there's something special with this card, but I'm not sure. Now let's look at a non-evolution card. So the Roaring Moon saw an increase as well, went from 150 to 180. And the Ceruledge also saw a peak and then it dropped again. So to be honest, I'm not sure how those prices like got that way. So maybe it's not the best example, but basically the majority of cards after a brand new set comes out will tank in price within like the first week to 2 weeks. So what I recommend is stay away from them and don't deal with like FOMO and think you'll never be able to get the cards, because these cards will be very easy to get your hands on. And if you operate with FOMO, then you're just going to be overpaying and you're going to be stuck with cards that you can't sell. So don't do that. Like right now, I don't know how accurate these market prices are, but this Mewtwo is at 450. I would say, based on like the numbers we've been looking at, that price will probably drop to 350 within a week, if not lower than that. So definitely don't buy these cards unless you have a very secure way to like, or very guaranteed way to sell them, because it is very risky to buy these cards right away without having like a foolproof way to just sell them and make a good profit. But yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. Hope you guys found this one helpful, and I hope it prepares you well for the Destined Rivals release day. Comment down below if you're going to be opening packs or if you're just going to be selling the product that you got that's coming in. And yeah, that's about it. Hope you all have a great rest of your week and then a good weekend.